Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this will be the Combat Series episode number 146 for you guys today. And to kick off the Combat Series this week, I'll be sharing my fight summary on the fight that took place Saturday night in the sport of boxing between Sebastian Fundora and Keith Thurman. It was Sebastian Fundora who defeated Keith Thurman by technical knockout in the 6th round Saturday night to successfully retain his WBC Super Welterweight Championship in the sport of boxing. So this is going to be my fight breakdown and my fight summary. So thoughts on the fight. I honestly hope you guys did not waste your $80 to buy the pay-per-view for Sebastian Fundora and Keith Thurman. You should have been a smart guy. Fire Stick Boys were definitely outside Saturday night for that fight between Sebastian Fundora and Keith Thurman. Now clearly it was a clear mismatch from the beginning of round 1 all the way to the technical knockout stoppage in round 6, and it was a one-sided beatdown, guys. And I scored the fight 5-0 in favor of Sebastian Fundora, and clearly everybody should have before the 6th round technical knockout stoppage. And 10 to 20 seconds into the fight, Sebastian Fundora either landed a stiff jab right down the middle or a overhand right that made me go damn, yelling at the TV. And once that punch landed, I knew Keith Thurman was in for a world of trouble. I knew it was going to be a long night in the office for Keith Thurman. And Sebastian Fundora did a good job to not allow Keith Thurman to find his way in the inside. I said last week, if Sebastian Fundora could do that, he's going to cruise to a decisive victory. So he did not let Keith Thurman get in the inside, and Sebastian Fundora also landed the jab well in range. I think Sebastian Fundora has developed a great jab in his arsenal, in his toolbox over the last couple of years, and landing several combinations, forcing Keith Thurman to respect his power and making Keith Thurman box off the back foot. Now, even Keith Thurman in his prime, when have we ever seen one time Keith Thurman box off the back foot? You never see it. He's always an aggressive fighter coming forward. And he could not do that when Sebastian Fundora was putting the paws on him, landing 50% of his power punches in that ring for a total of 6 rounds Saturday night. And I agree with the 6th round technical knockout stoppage. That referee saved Keith Thurman because Keith Thurman's face on both sides of both ends on his face clearly looked like he was in a car accident. And he took a lot of punishment for 5 to 6 rounds, guys. He would have honestly got himself very hurt or could have possibly got knocked out cold. And you don't want to see that from an older fighter like Keith Thurman. A lot of OGs respect the work that he's done at the welterweight division over the years. You don't want to see a guy go out like that, and possibly one of his final big opportunities. So I agree with the stoppage. And the referee did yell to Keith Thurman, "Keith, show me something." He said it 2-3 times. Keith Thurman wasn't showing what the referee was looking for in terms of defending yourself at all times, therefore waved off the fight, and we got the technical knockout stoppage in the 6th round. But it looked like Keith Thurman, honestly, when he was fighting Sebastian Fundora, the huge height and reach disadvantage for him was clearly on display. It looked like he was trying to solve a math equation and could not find the right answer or figure out the right formulas to get in the inside. He was struggling all night long, and Keith Thurman failed to establish the power. I think he probably landed 2-3 good hits on Sebastian Fundora, but every time Sebastian Fundora hit him with a counter shot or established the power on him once again. So Fundora clearly outboxed Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman failed to establish the power on Sebastian Fundora, make him respect some power in the 5 to 6 rounds. And you cannot fight on your bicycle off the back foot. And honestly, Keith Thurman being 37, being inactive, only 4 fights since 2019, he was better off going after one of these other inactive fighters like Keith Thurman or Jamel Charlo, or even possibly Tim Tszyu, the fight you were supposed to have back in 2024. This was a bad matchup for Keith Thurman, bad opportunity here, and you having that much time off, that is the wrong fighter to go after. The best in the division is Sebastian Fundora, when clearly you know your best days are behind you. So I honestly thought it would have been a more competitive fight. I thought Fundora was actually going to win by decision because up until this point, Keith Thurman never got stopped in his boxing career, only lost 1 time, and that was against Manny Pacquiao in 2019. But this version of Sebastian Fundora is different, guys, and arguably the best fighter in the division today. In my opinion, the best fighter at 154 right now until proven otherwise. But what's next for Sebastian Fundora? Now, the super welterweight division in boxing is heating up. I honestly think this can be the best division in boxing this year. I honestly think it is the best division in boxing as we speak right now. The division is starting to heat up. We just got the news that Xander Zayas will be defending his WBA and WBO titles against Jaron Ennis this summer in Brooklyn, New York. So that's going to be a fun title unification fight. Josh Kelly is the IBF champion at this super welterweight division right now. So Sebastian Fundora needs to do something. And honestly, I have a good opponent for him. He's coming off of 2 stoppage title defenses in his last 2 fights against Tim Tszyu. Stopped him in the summer in the 8th round of that fight. And stopped Keith Thurman by technical knockout stoppage in the 6th round last Saturday night. Honestly, a good opponent for Sebastian Fundora. Since this guy is not getting the Jaron Ennis fight and the politics are all over the place for him, we don't know what his future looks like. But I would love to see Sebastian Fundora defend his WBC super welterweight title, possibly against Virgil Ortiz Jr. next in the sport of boxing. And if Virgil Ortiz can somehow, some way figure out his legal issues with Golden Boy Promotions, fix and mend his relationship with Oscar De La Hoya while Jaron Ennis is occupied, this is a perfect opportunity for Virgil Ortiz Jr. to get a title shot against Sebastian Fundora, the best fighter in this division. And right now, actually, Virgil Ortiz Jr. does have a valid opportunity to get a title shot because he is the interim WBC super welterweight champion. Has been the interim champion for quite some time now at this division. So styles makes fights. I honestly think that's one of the biggest fights to be made in 2026 between Sebastian Fundora and Virgil Ortiz Jr. Fundora right now is the cheat code. This guy is 6'5", 6'6", somehow, some way makes 154 pounds. That's unheard of. But he has the height and the reach advantage when he possibly would fight Virgil Ortiz. He can use the jab. I think he's developed a phenomenal jab over the last couple years, landing the power shots against Virgil Ortiz Jr. And then for Virgil Ortiz Jr., can he use his boxing IQ, possibly win the counter-punching battle and fighting the inside against Sebastian Fundora? I think that's honestly a fun fight and one of the biggest fights to be made in this stacked junior super welterweight division in 2026. So I would love that, and I think that's a perfect opponent for Sebastian Fundora moving forward to close out 2026. But that is my fight summary on the fight that took place between Sebastian Fundora and Keith Thurman.